Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video here on Marvel Strike Force. Hope you're all having a great weekend. What we're going to be talking about in today's video is some new, there's a couple of data mine updates. There's a couple of things from the blog post that I want to talk about, but I also want to talk about this new upcoming arena team that is basically going to be after Accursed. And the reason why is because I want to kind of compare this to Annihilators for when they came out, who, PS, were the first team of the 2.0 era stats, and what this means for the meta going forward, especially the arena meta, because it's in such a hybrid legendary mythic soup, that kind of thing going on right now, and how this might impact you and your considerations for upgrading. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. Now, I just wanted to get this out of the way at the beginning here. So this was some data mine stuff. I'm pretty sure I went over this in my previous video, but this was about Omega Red Phoenix Force. It looked to be like a showcase and a showcase coming back using Red Phoenix energy. So I think this is still happening. I think this is going to be next week, though, because I did see the data mines midweek. Was it Wednesday or Thursday or something like this? And so I think this is going to be next Monday. Obviously not this coming Monday, but the week after that. And I think this ties actually quite interestingly with some of the latest data mines about the next Battle Pass, Season 49, is going to be Omega Red Phoenix Force shards and Intel currency. So that's basically going to be after the one that's ongoing right now. Some other things, there's a Hyperion Burst coming, if anyone cares about this. Now, one interesting thing is that they finally confirmed the negative zone, like all 16 nodes. Now, we are running essentially, I actually forgot that I was still running it. I have to finish my second run, actually. Missions 1 through 12, right? And so it sees here that mission 9 through 12 is Cosmic Crucible. And I mentioned this in a previous video as well, but we do actually have confirmation that mission type arena is for 13 through 16, which is going to be for the month of July. And so that's why I want to talk about this in the second half of the video, is this whole upcoming arena team. Some of the suspected, what people think it may or may not be, that kinds of things. But before we do, I do want to kind of look at the, just scroll through the blog post really quick. So Freedom Spire is ongoing right now, right? And so a lot of people it seems to be a lot of people are having problems with the Cabal section. Now, I can do this. I actually have a video, which I'm going to leave in the description down below for, because a lot of people are having issues with the Cabal section. So 44, 45, and 46. I did a little bit last night, and then I just went to bed. That's really all it is. These do take a little bit more finessing than some of the other nodes, especially. Honestly, they're pretty easy at this point because you're gonna have 105 for some of these other ones, like Orcus. You can use Orcus for the entire thing. Really, you could use Annihilators, but honestly, you could just use Orcus for the entire thing, and then Liberty for 53 to 58. So it's not really that difficult there. I would say the Cabal section is actually the most quote-unquote challenging, because a lot of people might not have brought them up. Hell, if you're a newer-ish player, then you might not even have them that high at all. And so this might be the stopping point for a lot of people. Even for veterans, though, you might not have taken them up to 105. Mine are at 101 or something from the last time I did this. And so I don't really want to put more into it. If you do take them to 105, it'll be easier for you to clear it. There won't be as much finessing as there was at the level 100 stage. So do keep that in mind as well. Again, I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to catch my video of how to do the Cabal section a little bit easier. A lot of this stuff we have already checked out in data mines, but it does seem that there is going to be Hyperion shards related to the week 6 of the Harbinger. We're still getting Songbird shards, it seems, even though the data mine didn't say it. And then there is that leaderboard event, which we already spoke about as well. Shadow King Trials. I feel like this is coming back more and more often, but there it is again on Monday, so you can run this. Maybe you can run, I'm going to say that you can run this, but like Old Man Logan Trials, when that came back, apparently you can't run it anymore when you're 7 yellow, so I don't know how many times the Shadow King trial is going to come back and you're going to be able to get rewards from this at some point. They may also cut this off like they did for Old Man Logan. Battle World is going to be returning on Tuesday, and then Hood is going to be available on Thursday, and yeah, that's it. And there's going to be a 6 red null because they're bringing the Red Star thing, right? Wherever it is, the Red Stars for null, right? All this down here, right? That milestone that comes up in the command center. Now, there were some people talking about this whole stuff related to the Red Star availability. Now, I'm not going to I honestly don't think that this is a big deal. honestly, for me as a 99% free to play player. I haven't spent on anything in like 3 months now at this point. There just it's not a big deal. Like you can still pull. Like I'm pretty sure, right? You can still pull red stars in the red star, or sorry, in the red star orbs. If did I read this wrong? Like I'm pretty sure that you can still just go into your orbs when the characters come out, pull an Elite 7. There's Helverine in there right now, and you can still do that for new characters, right? Like I don't think they're doing that. It's just the upgrades after. So what I would recommend is you pulling an Elite 7, a 7 red star for that character right away when they come out. Hold on to some Elite 7s, it's not a big deal, and then pull that, right? I think that's the best thing that you can do. And then it says, instead of going into the Elite store, they'll go into the chat. So it sucks, and this is only relevant really to the diamonds, in my opinion, right? Like it's only relevant to the diamonds, not the red stars, because you can just do that with the orbs. It is what it is when it comes to the diamond promotions, but I think some people are making more of a deal about this than it actually is. I watched some of the Envoy videos. I can't seem to relate to this particular issue, but that's just me. I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, does it suck? Sure. But I mean, it's not really that big of a deal that's worth really kicking up a fuss about. I think some people are blowing this up more than it really is, but that's just my thoughts. Anyways, again, Freedom Spire, we're doing all this stuff right now. Battle World, King in Black, Twitch drops, right? So not a whole ton of stuff going on right here. But what I do want to talk about is the arena, right? So the next team that is coming to the game is going to be arena team. Now, is it the Hellfire Club or is it Future Foundation or Foundation, whatever? Some people were saying that the Fantastic Four was going to have a team called Future Foundation or something like this. I don't know the lore, but it was like related to the Fantastic Four, right? Which is supposed to be in July because of the movie, but they could have pushed the team back to be more on the back of the movie, that kind of thing. So it could be like July, August. Hard to say. So those are the two teams that are kind of rumored it to be, would be either the Hellfire Club or this Future Foundation, Fantastic Four, whatever the hell it is. Now, one thing that I do want to say, though, is that I want to go back to the Annihilators, right? I want to start where it all began, or at least where it started back in September, right? I guess is when they came out. So this was the Annihilator team. This was the latest arena team to come out. And when they first came out, there was a Reworks, a Silver Surfer, and Ultimus. Now, Ultimus, when the team was live, I thought he had value. I thought he was super easy to get to 3 diamonds because buying his DPCs and his Dark Diamond upgrades were super cheap, and that was okay. Now, I didn't take him to 105. I really don't use him anymore. Personally, maybe there's some niche uses in PvP, but I don't use him personally. He's also expensive to build, I'm pretty sure, so that's a little bit of a hit on him. Now, Silver Surfer got dropped off. You didn't even really use Silver Surfer in the arena meta either. I think it was primarily these 3, sometimes Ultimus, because at the time, basically so many things were being blocked by Gore as far as mechanics go, that I did actually use some Ultimus sometimes in the arena, but primarily I think in combination with Apocalypse. Now, a lot of characters are kind of gone by the wayside, and I do want to talk about this a little bit here, because these 3 were like the mainstay, and they're still pretty good, right? They are good, right? You're still using them in PvP. People are still using them in Cosmic Crucible to some plug and play fashion, I guess, with Thanos Endgame with Rainfire and Gladiators as Spawn Taunt. Gore does lose some of his functionality because of the blocking of the assists is primarily in Arena, so you're not going to get that. Some people are still using him in Arena, however, of course, alongside to block assists from Odin and whatnot. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this team functions, this new team, right? Whether it's the Hellfire Club, which again, maybe at this point you need to start saving some of your mutant gear, and because it's an arena team, which is going to be a pretty big deal. So either your mutant gear or your bio gear, possibly if it's like Future Foundation, Fantastic Four related, those are the 2 kind of origins that I would consider holding on to until we know a little bit more. If you're, especially with Xavier Saga basically ramping down at this point with the Race to X milestone, if you're not going to get that next red star, what I probably would do is I probably would sit on your G20 gear a little bit, because if this team is as good as we think it's going to be, because when these characters came out, when these 3 came out, they basically upended the meta completely, which is pretty crazy, including a lot of the mythic characters that were available at that time, which was essentially Mephisto, right? Was the latest mythic character at that time. We're going to get into that, though, because it's going to be really interesting, because Arena is basically a mythic soup at this point. Now, I don't have Xavier. And only a few people. I got pushed back a little bit, but essentially not many people in my. I think maybe two people in my arena shard have Xavier. Now it is growing, but you're seeing a lot of this stuff, right? You're still seeing a lot of at least the two or the three annihilators: Odin, Apocalypse, Null, this kind of thing, like this combination of those three characters. You're rarely seeing some people use Mephisto, I guess. Okay, there's a G20 Mephisto, so that's still a thing. So I guess a rotation of Mephisto, Odin, Null, and sometimes Apocalypse, right? It's some degree of this, and it makes you wonder, like, which of these mythical characters would actually stick into the arena. Now, like I said, the Annihilators basically wiped out anything that was pre-Mephisto at that point. Apocalypse wasn't even really a big deal at this point. Old Man Logan was also ripped out because of gore for the most part, and so my question is how many of the mythics are going to become obsolete with this new arena team? Because you're going to have to imagine that this is a complete reset, not only for new players especially, right? You're going to want to jump on that ASAP. If you're a new or mid-game player, you're going to want to jump on this team ASAP. But how many of the mythics are the new arena team going to destroy? Now, we know that it's probably not going to destroy Xavier. So my guess is it's going to be some sort of a 3 or 4 piece that you're going to use with Xavier and maybe one other. But what I will say is it's probably, I don't know for certain, right? But most likely Apocalypse is somehow out completely. And Super Skrull's definitely out, and because Annihilators basically killed Super Skrull anyways. And then there's Mephisto and Odin. Now, I'm going to go on a limb and assume that there's going to be something in the kits of this new arena team that is going to remove exhaust. You're already starting to see that in places like Cosmic Crucible with Juggernaut, right? Doesn't Juggernaut clear Accursed's exhaust? So it would not be surprising one bit for there to be either an anti-exhaust mechanic or someone on the new team that does actually clear exhaust. Probably limited to arena, though. It's probably going to be limited to there, not in the rest of the other PvP game modes. I think that would be kind of overpowered, especially for what should be not even a legendary team, right? I don't think there's going to be a legendary character on this, and they're not on teams anyways. So I think this is going to be pretty wild. I think it's probably going to do that, though, in arena. Now, it's I mean, it's fairly easy also to counter Odin to a large degree, too. I think, because he's not very fast. You can kind of outspeed Odin to a large degree as well if you can get him killed. If you can't get him killed, that's a little bit of a problem. Where I could see some issues being, though, is that because it's a new character team, that you're going to have them at low stars, or hell, you're not going to have them at all for about a month or so, right? And so there is going to be some time gap there where they get built up, and are they going to be viable against the existing gear 19 and 20s 105s that we have right now, right? I mean, Odin, Mephisto, Apocalypse, Annihilators, that kind of thing. Whoever else you're using, the Shadow King, sometimes I see, sometimes in the meta. Are they going to be able to beat? Is this new team going to be able to beat the Mythic suit, right? Especially out of the gate, 3-4 star. They'd have to be pretty overpowered. But you got to imagine that they are planning something. Mechanically, I think there's a lot of ways that you could block characters like Mephisto. Actually, you know what? Null realistically, Null should be in here. He's not a mythic character, but he does block Mephisto, right? So I have to imagine that there's going to be some combo mechanics that is going to block the totality of Odin, Mephisto, and or Null. Obviously, it might be good to still use them in a 1 or 2 extra with the new Hellfire. I don't know. Maybe I'm just assuming it's a Hellfire Club, but we'll see who it ends up being. Because this new arena team has to do essentially what Annihilators did, but more and better. The question is, can they do it with other stars, right? And this is a pretty big, with overpower especially, right? And so that's why I'm saying save up your gear tier 20 mutant and bio pieces, especially if you're not going to be clearing Professor Xavier in the next 6 days, right? Like, I don't think I'm getting a 5 Red Xavier, right? Because I'm a global hero. That's where I'm at right now. I'm definitely not clearing this. So, I'm just going to be sitting, stacking up my G20s for a little while because I don't really care about applying it for PvP. It's not really that big of a deal. So that's kind of my priority right now. Am I going to buy mutant? I'm not going to go to my way to buy mutant gear pieces right now. I'm buying bio for my global hero section for Liberty. But, because we don't know exactly which team it's going to be, I'm going to hold off. But I wouldn't necessarily go out of your way and like hold on to your intel too much. If you know, it is what it is, right? We'll slowly get stuff. We'll see when it comes out, and it should only be a couple of weeks because we're gonna get the hood this coming week, and then we're only one character away, and Accursed is done already, which is absolutely wild because I haven't seen any Thunderbolt path to orbs for that whole team, and yet we're already almost halfway through the Accursed, and I feel like things are just like going at. Is it just me? I feel like characters are being released super fast, like every single week, and I am having a hard time keeping up with things. We'll see whether or not the Negasonic rework happens. You know, if it's Future Foundation or something like that, I suspect it would be a Human Torch rework that was mentioned as well. As far as other characters that have been mentioned as far as reworks go, and I don't know if any of this is actually true or not. I believe there was some, we'll go to the bottom because a lot of them are down here. I heard something about a Madeline Pryor. I don't know if that's true. If it's Hellfire Club, that could be very likely. Someone was saying Mr. Sinister, but I just really don't see that being the case because there was a lot of blockages to cloning, and I thought they were trying to move away from the whole cloning mechanic, at least through Mr. Sinister, because that was a long time ago now. And as far as the other characters go, I don't know. I think they're not going to rework OG Emma Frost. There were some mentions about Kitty Pryde being potentially on a Hellfire Club, but I would prefer to see a Kitty Pryde or Kate Pryde from the Marauders outfit from the last few years. She was the red, I want to say the Red Queen or something like that, right? I've seen her costume for that. It looks really cool. So I like almost a brand new character would be much more preferable. And I don't think a Magneto rework is happening either, at least not right now. I think it's going to be coming with Onslaught if that comes later on this year. We'll have more time to talk about that later on, though, because we did have that Onslaught kit from last year, and I think they pushed it off because Battle World was absolute dog shit. So they decided not to push out a team for once. I think that's what happened to that Dark Descendants thing. Otherwise, I think that's about it as far as this goes. For the Future Foundation, I have no idea what's going on there. So we'll have to wait and see until we know more, which honestly probably won't even be that long. Probably a week and a half, and we'll know more about that. But I think it's worth considering that this arena team is going to be really, really important. Therefore, making sure that you have enough resources for this, because I know a lot of people are kind of skipping or, you know, not upgrading Accursed that much, and they're just waiting for the next big thing, which is going to be that arena team. So I would hold on to your resources. Be prepared for that to go all in when they come out. So that's going to be it for now. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments down below, and have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.